lives and those who have been injured in these tornadoes. We don't know exactly yet how many lives have been lost. Unconfirmed, we have at least 12 and possibly 13. But we will continue to obviously find out that number, and we will also monitor the injuries that we have across the state, and we will respond to those. I'm going to ask Art Faulkner if he will come to the microphone and give us more details. So, Art.
Thank you, Governor. The Governor activated the State Emergency Operations Center very early this morning in the wake of the storms that occurred overnight. He issued a state of emergency. We currently have about 10 counties that have significant damage, and as the Governor stated, those tornadoes are continuing to move across the state now, with tornadoes on the ground in Cullman and Jefferson County as we speak. We have approximately 400 state employees that are activated to be able to go into these storm areas and assist the locals as soon as the storms pass. And we will be activating, as the Governor said, additional personnel throughout the night as we make clear exactly what kind of devastation we have in these counties. Right now, we would urge the citizens to still continue to monitor the weather very closely. These are very deadly storms. They can pop up in little to no warning, and people need to be aware of where these storms are going, and they need to take appropriate action. They need to be in an approved storm shelter or some type of sturdy, very sturdy building, because these storms are of such a magnitude that they are destroying homes, as brick homes, stick-built homes, as well as mobile homes and businesses. We have a large number of customers or citizens that are without power throughout the state, and as soon as the power crews...
We will be dipping in and out of the Governor.
We've got the dangerous situation now in Albertville, the tornado moving into Albertville. I've been putting that message on there. You've got to take cover right now. If you can't get our broadcast, you may be able to get our simulcast. We've got a tornado west of Albertville moving east and northeast. It's going to be very close from Douglas to Albertville and over towards Boaz. So do take shelter immediately. Large hail north of Albertville, a possible significant tornado right now on the way into Albertville and Boaz. The storm looks just like the storms we have had earlier today. Power out, again, continues to be a power outage widespread across most of North Alabama. Strong rotation in the cell, also in Lawrence County, moving out of the Bankhead National Forest. We'll continue to update you on that. Just want to let you know, again, we have two very powerful storms still capable of producing significant damage ongoing in our viewing area. And this one over here near Albertville is going to be tracking along, looks like 75. So the worst of that weather is in downtown Albertville now, moving towards Geraldine, Chigger Hill, all along State Highway 75. A very similar track to the tornado you had last year, 2 days ago on this date, from this date. Go ahead and look at the inside the NEXRAD Doppler radar. Strong indications of a tornado continue in Albertville. Significant lightning going on. And no reports from storm spotters yet from the south side of Boaz, but you could see this tornado from Boaz to the north moving through Albertville, so please be seeking shelter there. Other areas, a strong rotation. Oakville and Danville. This is moving towards Priceville and Hartselle. So be seeking shelter in Hartselle and stay in your shelter until this storm leaves. And the storm is going to be followed by other thunderstorms out there. These will continue throughout the rest of the afternoon. It looks like by 8 o'clock this evening, we'll finally start to see some areas being able to be cleared from this threat of severe weather. I'll put a storm track on this storm here from Oakville to Danville. And this storm moving east, northeast. This could affect areas near the Whitesburg Bridge and over there towards Lacey's Spring here in a short period of time as well. So Hartselle at 6:15, Priceville 6:20, Somerville 6:23, Triana at 6:29. And this storm has a history of producing a strong circulation, possible tornado. In fact, this did have a tornado with it earlier near Haleyville, and this tornado warning in effect here for Moulton areas down towards Oakville and Danville, and it looks like it's going to impact just to the south of Decatur. I want to take another look at storms that are developing out here farther to the west. Again, the Birmingham metro area, tornado perhaps on the ground moving through that area now. Other storms down in Fayette County, those may track towards Coleman and eventually Albertville, Arab, Boaz all over again as we go into the next hour and a half. Threat of severe weather. I can clear us out in some areas here. The extreme northwest corner of the state where all this began, it looks like this is the cold front finally starting to move through. The faster this moves through, the better, but we still have at least 2 hours before the threat of severe weather is over for areas east of I-65. Let's go to meteorologist Brian Fowler with a rundown of all these tornado warnings now in effect in our viewing area.
Yeah, we have a lot of warnings out there now, Brad, and I just received another warning, so just bear with me while I read this for you. National Weather Service has a tornado warning now in effect for DeKalb, South Central Jackson, and also southeastern Marshall counties. Now that is going to go until about 6:45. They're actually looking at a dangerous tornado near Huntsville, or about near Albertville, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Here's the map that we have. We're all still under a tornado watch, which will continue until 10 p.m. But if you live in Jackson, Marshall, and also DeKalb counties, you're under a tornado warning. That continues till 6:45. And just for a few more minutes now, we have a tornado warning for eastern Franklin County until 6:15. Here we are right here. That extends further eastward. And in fact, we have a tornado warning for western Morgan, southeastern Franklin, and southern Lawrence counties, which goes till 6:15. Again, that is another warning that will be expiring within a few minutes. A tornado warning for southwestern Franklin, southeastern Lincoln, northern Madison, and northwestern Jackson counties as well. So as you can see, we have warnings everywhere. It's very difficult keeping up with every single warning that we have, but we are doing our very best to keep you informed of exactly what's going on all across northern Alabama. What we do know for sure now is what is happening out west towards the shoals as the front is moving through. They are seeing more in the way of stable air now. What we have out ahead of it is still warm, moist, unsettled conditions. So any rain that we do see, any thunderstorms we see form, end up becoming more in the way of tornadic storms, and that's why we are going to have to clearly watch these storms as they track from the southwest towards the northeast. We have one nasty storm out towards Winchester right now, more into Fayetteville and to the southwest of there. As we head towards the shoals out towards Florence and Russellville, at this point they're seeing a line of thunderstorms, but they are not expecting really the tornadic storms that the rest of the metro and over towards Sand Mountain, what we're expecting at least probably for the next several hours. Brad?
Yeah, we're still really starting to see this rotation increasing with the storm, and I'm noticing the lightning really increasing with the storm that's moving into DeKalb County. So two real areas of primary concern right now. That's going to be the Priceville, Hartselle, Falkville area, and also areas now east of Albertville. No reports right now if we've had any damage in Albertville, but I won't be surprised when we do start getting those. And if we do, a significant lightning picking up from Geraldine up to Grove Oak. Our tornado continues to track to the east towards Geraldine and eventually towards Rainsville. Put this into motion. Get the general track, continues to be east and northeast. Prolific lightning, and we've seen this time and time again with our big tornado producing storms, especially in this part of North Alabama. You get a tremendous amount of lightning going on within that storm. This is very electrical right now, and I'm very concerned for Geraldine, Crossville, Rainsville, and Fort Payne. Put a storm track on here for you. Going to take the back side of the back edge of that storm.
We also have a tornado warning for southeastern Limestone County, west central Madison, and northern Morgan counties until 6:45.
New tornado warning just came out.
Brand new one.
Okay, we'll get on that in just a second. Here's that storm with a history of producing a tornado. Crossville at 6:19, Geraldine 6:19, Fyffe 6:27, Rainsville 6:31, and Fort Payne 6:36. Golf ball to baseball size hail possible with this storm now. Also possibility of significant damaging wind and a tornado could still be on the ground. It's going to be very hard to see at night with this storm as it moves in. The latest on the tornado warning, it's going to be southeastern Limestone County, west central Madison County, northern Morgan County at 6:10, so just about 4 minutes ago. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating a severe storm capable of producing a tornado near Neal, moving northeast at 65 miles an hour. Locations include, but not limited to, would be Mooresville, that is, Mooresville, Priceville, Triana, Redstone Arsenal, and Farley. So this is going to track a little farther to the south than the previous one. So tornado sirens are likely sounding again all across Madison County. If you're listening to us on the radio, our simulcast partner, the UMP 103.9. Again, we'll provide that information here, let you know on the storm track. And again, I realize many of you are listening to us on the radio right now, so I'll try to make this storm track as picturesque as I can to try to illustrate what's going on with the storm. We're watching this rotation near Hartselle, just to the north of there along Highway 31. It is moving east-northeast. It's going to have an impact on Somerville, Triana, and eventually other parts out towards the Redstone Arsenal. It's tracking south of 565, paralleling 565 almost, and just to the south. So that is that storm there. We don't have any reports so far of any damage going on. Let me go ahead and check with the National Weather Service.
We also have a tornado warning for Lincoln County in Tennessee. That goes until 6:45.
Now that's that storm that's coming out of Athens, the north of Athens. You can see that. What I want to do here, we'll go ahead and put that area there. So we've got the tornado warning for Fayetteville, that storm. Actually, I was going to have picture-in-picture. We're going to have the storm that's, there we go. Okay. The storm moving into the Huntsville metro area, and then the other storm up there moving towards Fayetteville. Let's see, emergency management in Marshall County reports a tornado on the ground at Nixon Chapel. That was at 6:16, so that's right now. Southwest of Hyatt in Marshall County. Emergency management report, that was at 5:47. The report just came in, but it was at 5:47. So the storm that's moving towards Geraldine in DeKalb County does have a tornado on the ground with it. Straight line winds in excess of 70 miles an hour reported in Winchester, Tennessee, with that storm moving through there. Spotters reporting a wall cloud in Geraldine off Highway 75 and Highway 75 over there in DeKalb County. That's where the tornado is tracking, right along there. Again, that was reported by the Geraldine Police Department. So a number of warnings continue here across North Alabama, but we are starting to see an end to the threat for the violent weather, but it's coming at a price here after we've already seen several areas with devastation here. Let's go ahead and go over to Liz and Mark. Do we have any more reports coming out of North Alabama and even other areas down towards Central Alabama? I know Tuscaloosa was hit by a tornado as well as Birmingham.
Well, we were just discussing, again, not to speculate, but you heard Governor Bentley in his speech a moment ago saying at least 12 or 13 fatalities so far, and again, unfortunately, we think that might grow. I think that's low, depending on what we've heard across North Alabama. Again, we've confirmed 6 fatalities in ARAB.
There are so many injuries.
Just one brief, and I'm going to interject here as I see fit, because we're getting some more reports coming in. We don't have any confirmation of a tornado on the ground with the storm that's moving into southern Madison County, south of Decatur, but we are getting reports of debris falling from the sky northeast of this. So in all likelihood, there is a tornado on the ground moving towards Priceville. So if you're in Priceville, you need to be seeking shelter. Eventually this tornado moving towards Triana, and we're going to get debris falling out towards the Marshall Space Flight Center with this tornado as well.
Okay. Along the lines of the fatalities, and we're talking about, we were having a discussion a moment ago about take a lot of this with a grain of salt too, because there are some people out there on social networking sites who are exaggerating. Some are saying hundreds in certain areas, and we were talking to our news director a short time ago. Again, take all this with a grain of salt, and it's going to be some time before we can confirm exactly the injuries and the deaths associated with this storm, but it's going to be significant.
If you are sheltering in place, you may not realize it in Madison County, but Bill Yell with Huntsville Utilities was with us just a little bit ago, and he said the entire county, the entire Madison
so stay off the roads.
We have a report of a tornado on the ground in Geraldine heading towards Grove Oak.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing right here. And this is one of the main reasons you need a NOAA radio, because even on our end, we're starting to get, even the National Weather Service, NEXRAD Doppler radar out of Hytop is down because the power's out. Our radar took a direct hit by the tornado that moved through Limestone County. And if you don't have any way to get this signal, you're putting your own life and your family's life at risk by not having a weather radio, because every time that weather radio goes off, battery operated, it tells you the information coming from the National Weather Service and the life-saving information today. But we do have a tornado on the ground in Geraldine moving northeast. So Rainsville tornado will be there at 6:27. Sylvania, expect tornado conditions at 6:31. Mentone 6:41. Fyffe 6:23. So again, tracking a tornado on the ground near Chigger Hill and Geraldine moving east-northeast. We also have a tornado likely on the ground near Priceville. That is moving east towards Lacey's Spring. Another possible tornado up in Lincoln County in southern Tennessee. That is tracking east-northeast. And what you see here is the radar indicating winds at least 80 to 100 miles per hour. And the only problem we're having with the radar here is that this is the Birmingham NEXRAD. It's not the closest radar, but we are still seeing strong indications of a tornado, and one has been reported with our storm in Geraldine moving east-northeast. Once again, notice the prolific lightning coming from this storm. You're probably going to have debris falling out near Rainsville. Macedonia section could see debris and some of those higher elevations out there from the storm doing damage, picking up shingles, picking up tree limbs, throwing those up into the atmosphere, and those falling out of the stratosphere down in front of this storm with the heavy rain. So not only looking at that, possibly looking at damaging winds, golf ball size hail. They've gone with a tornado emergency now for the storm moving towards Rainsville. So a tornado emergency now in Rainsville. Local emergency management reported tornado on the ground near Geraldine moving northeast towards Grove Oak at 55 miles an hour, and this will eventually hit Rainsville. So a tornado on the way to Rainsville, be seeking shelter. Elsewhere, we continue with the tornado warning that comes for southern Madison County. Not seeing as much lightning with our storm that's near Decatur, but still indicating some very high wind inside that storm. And some twisting wind continues, and we've had reports of debris falling on the northern edge of this storm. It is going to stay just to the south of I-565. This one is tracking into Huntsville. Let me put a storm track on this for you as well. You can hear the lightning and thunder picking up here outside our studios as well. This possible tornado tracking east-northeast at about 65 miles an hour, puts it towards Triana at 629, Marshall Space Flight Center 634, Owens Crossroads 642, Big Cove 643, and Brownsboro at 647.
And in south-southeast Higdon, DeKalb County, emergency manager reports a tornado, significant structural damage at 6247 and County Road 155 in Cartersville.
That was at 4:48 p.m.
They're reporting that late. Okay, they're reporting that late. Okay.
Yeah, that was at 4:48. That was with another storm. I know it's hard to keep track of a lot of these storm reports. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
But let me expand this view out more. And there is a monster storm there in Birmingham. Just want to get your bearings here. Tuscaloosa, everything okay there, but there's a big storm with a tornado southeast of there. Much of Shelby County now being inundated with that tornado there. That's a very strong tornado moving through Birmingham as we speak. So again, this is a tornado outbreak affecting a large area of North Alabama into central Alabama. And this will continue for a few more hours. I'm going to put a storm track on this line here. And the main reason I want to do this is to let you know when to expect this bad weather to finally come to an end. I'm going to track this east. We're going to go ahead and take this at about close to 40 miles an hour. I'm going to track this over the next 2 hours. So what you're seeing here, this is the end of right now what appears to be the end of the threat of severe weather along this cold front. But it's also a threat for some damaging straight line winds. Florence, 6:36. So about 15 minutes from now, we should see the severe weather window closing there. Russellville, 6:52. 6:56 in Hamilton. Solgat, around 7:01. Phil Campbell, 7:03. Cortland at 7:19. We should start to see this threat of severe weather winding down. So that's about an hour from now in some areas farther to the east. We still have strong, dangerous storms going on from Moulton to Decatur up to Fayetteville. And we have indication of rotation in some of these storms as well. The strongest rotation we have is clearly with the storm moving towards Rainsville. So we'll update you on the DeKalb County storm now. Tornado has been confirmed in Geraldine about 5 minutes ago. And this tornado is tracking towards Rainsville right now. So here's a storm track for Rainsville. We're going to put that at 65 miles an hour.
And the tornado warning has now been canceled for south central Jackson and southeastern Marshall counties.
So southeast Jackson and south central Marshall County,
Yes.
tornado warning has been canceled. We're allowed to expire. If you live in these towns, you need to be seeking shelter. Over in DeKalb County, Rainsville, 6:28, Sylvania, 6:32. And in case you're wondering, the time right now is 6:26. So 6:28, 2 minutes, this tornado is going to hit Rainsville. Sylvania, 6:32. Valley Head, 6:40. Eider, 6:44. Sulphur Springs at 6:47.
We had a report 3 miles northeast of Guntersville there in Marshall County, public reports of tornado and large pieces of debris falling from the sky.
Now that's from this storm. They're getting the report of the tornado based on the fact that there's debris falling. So we had a large pieces of debris falling from the sky 3 miles northeast of Guntersville with this storm that's now in Geraldine. So we are talking about incredible tornadoes today when we're getting debris reported out ahead of this, out ahead of these storms. The next storm, once again, let's go back in here where the tornado warning continues in Madison County. This is away from Monrovia, away from Meridianville. This is South Huntsville storm here. No reports so far of damage from this storm in Priceville.
No, not yet.
But it's right over the river. And we're going to take this east-northeast at about 65 miles an hour. And it's possible this storm is encountering somewhat stable air. Marshall Space Flight Center, 6:32. Space and Rocket Center, 6:35. Joe Davis, 6:37. Huntsville, 6:39. Big Cove, 6:41. And Chase, around 6:42. National Weather Service for DeKalb County, monitoring law enforcement reporting a large and extremely dangerous tornado near Fyffe, near Rainsville, moving northeast at 55. Tornado has produced confirmed damage. So if you're listening to us on WVSM out of Rainsville, the tornado is going to hit any minute. So brace yourself for a tornado. We've got a large tornado reported by law enforcement moving towards Rainsville from Fyffe. Once again, a large tornado moving towards Rainsville from Fyffe. This according to law enforcement. They are reporting a significant tornado on the ground that is doing damage. Elsewhere near Moulton, we continue to track a thunderstorm there capable of damaging winds and large hail. And there is some circulation possible with this storm, but we're not seeing significant circulation as of right now. We'll get in here towards Rainsville.
And we are looking at a tornado emergency now for, that is going to be until 6:45 for DeKalb County, for central DeKalb County.
Yeah, it's a continuation of that tornado emergency they issued a few minutes ago there for DeKalb County. Again, if you're in Rainsville, you need to be seeking shelter. We've got a large tornado on the ground moving into Rainsville, capable of significant damage. It is in Fyffe now. It continues to track. I believe that's State Highway 79 there. It's tracking right along 75, that is. 79 is up in Jackson County. So State Highway 75, if you live along there, brace for tornado. The wind is going to pick up tremendously. You're going to have the power flashes going on if you have power right now. And I think some of these areas in DeKalb County, Marshall County may